Okay, this is part 6 of Martin Luther quotes. I added number 6. I know I said I was going to end at 5, but I forgot a couple slides. Plus, I had people asking me questions about it, like, how could I say what the Pope did was okay? Yeah, and I do think the Pope exploited the peasants a little bit, but I think the Pope did a minor thing. It was a voluntary thing for the peasants, and the alternative was big. I think what Luther did was a major bad thing. All right, let me explain where I'm coming from here. This is a famous painting, Horace Vernet, about Pope Julius, the warrior pope, my favorite pope, the best pope. There's Michelangelo, Bramante, the architect, Raphael, and all artists were sort of architects in those days, working on the designs for St. Peter's Basilica, how to rebuild it. Okay, so you need a smart, tough guy to be a good pope. He's got a lot of responsibility for all of Christendom. Okay, and I'll show some more things that this guy did that were rather interesting and unique. Rome was under, military threat at that time. There were threats from Spain, threats from France, and threats from other city-states in Italy. So Pope Julius was known as the warrior pope. Okay, and this is from the movie The Agony and the Ecstasy, which was mostly about the relationship between Pope Julius and Michelangelo when he was painting the Sistine Chapel. It's a magnificent movie. The two all-time greatest movies about artistic creativity are Amadeus, about Mozart, of course, and The Agony and the Ecstasy, primarily about Michelangelo and his relationship with Pope Julius, okay? So you need a smart, tough guy to run things well, okay? That's just reality. You need noble masculinity. There is no such thing as a successful, large-scale country that's a gynocracy. It just doesn't exist. You need somebody who's going to devote their life to it. Women up until 1950 all had 10 kids on average, 10 babies or more. So, that's a full-time job, all right? You can't devote yourself. And yes, he had like a mistress and he had a couple children. Good. Okay? Men love women. That's not going to change. You should be allowed to be married and be a high-level person in the religion. That's a normal thing. Okay? That's why Luther and Zwingli both approved that priests should be allowed to marry, because it's normal and there's nothing in the Bible that says they can't. That's why a lot of, I think, like Orthodox versions of Christianity allow it. Protestant versions do. Okay, we kind of talked about most of the stuff already, but basically, Catholic religion's a lot more fun than Protestant, because Catholic is a lot about enjoying life. All the saints' days, the feast days, the holidays, great tight-knit communities. Okay, whereas Protestant is too much, do what we say, you're going to go to hell. It's like, give me a break, And the Catholics, they love paintings and arts and statues and pilgrimages. It's all beautiful. And lots of Catholics have all kinds of hobbies, like collecting little statues of the saints. My mother did that. She had all these collections of all the saints. She knew all the saints. It was a nice thing, okay? And they have much more involvement in charities. They made the great universities, etc. Okay, whereas the Protestants trashed the sculpture, trashed the paintings, destroyed stained glass windows, threw Celtic crosses into the sea, hung the Catholic priests, RAPED'd the nuns. They take the fun out of Christianity, like Alfred North Whitehead had said, all right? All right, so I just have a little bit more stuff here. I'm just going to show you a couple paintings. The apex of civilization, when the country has peace, it has achieved prosperity. Sort of Kennedy was the Christian apex of the USA. Ronald Reagan, a Scots-Irish guy, had the USA pretty wealthy. Like I said, college in California and some of the state schools, they were free college. Okay, nowadays college is like the biggest ripoff around. All right, and so the world's kind of going down. It's going into more and more poverty and crime and this sort of stuff. And so hopefully, what everybody's hoping is a new guy is going to partner with the Christians and make things good again. I hope so. We'll see. I hope so. Because otherwise, if he doesn't, there's going to be more of this, burning down churches, and this type of stuff, bringing back slavery, because that's the goal of this side of the coin. So Luther weakened the entire Christendom, the entire Christian church, and then the Christendom's progressively getting weaker and weaker since the loss of JFK, and hopefully it's going to start making a comeback, because if it doesn't, this is what's coming, slavery. All right, so anyways, what I'm basically saying is I'm talking about Martin Luther broke up the church, and he did far more damage. Tons of peasants. People would say to me, well, isn't it awful that some of the peasants gave their hard-earned money for indulgences? I go, yeah, that's unfortunate. It's an exploitation. But it's much worse that they then had a peasant civil war in Germany, and 200,000 of them got killed. Then not that long after, the 30 Years' War, just tons and tons, hundreds of thousands of peasants and other civilians killed, okay? And then the princes took over, secularized the religion. It made things far worse. Then you had all the craziness of Calvinism, the craziness of Henry VIII. So there's such a thing as, choosing the lesser of two problems. And the lesser of two problems by far would have been just let guys like Pope Julius run the church and make it work. I know it's not perfect, but you don't get perfect in life. You got to choose the lesser of two problems. And so, anyways, it is what it is.